I'm limping a little bit. Old age can kick back. No, how y'all doing today? Thanks for having me again, Ken. Congratulations to you coaches over here. I'm all about the Catholic League. Y'all know that from Purple Knight. As it pertains to the Saints, I don't have much to say, so I'm gonna just take questions because we all know what's going on and enjoying it. Oh, I will say this. I hope everybody's off of that get rid of Teddy Bridgewater bandwagon. So, any questions?
Finally got a returner.
We got a returner. We got a great returner. I just hope he can get some blocking because the times that he has scored his touchdowns has been on his own. And I'm still waiting for that call from Sean Payton to say, hey, Ty, come over here and work with him. But I doubt if I ever get it. But he's a hell of a returner. He's doing a great job. He's small. Got to work on holding on the ball. But hey, my second year, I had 7, if I'm not mistaken, I think I had 7 fumbles. I might have lost 3 or 4 of them. So things happen, you know, but when you have that potential to always score, you kind of try to work with them and let some things go by.
What about judgment? Like making proper judgment about when to fill the ball?
Well, I think one of the things these days, a lot of kids, nobody wants to fair catch anymore. That was one thing I learned to definitely do, especially in the NFL, because you don't want to take that hit. But you also don't want to give up you don't want to mess up your average. So maybe some better judgment, and I think that's going to come over time, that he's going to learn that. But I think when you also look at, again, working on better blocking for him to give him time to make those catches and have a better understanding of when to fair catch and when not. I think one of the things that's going to happen, though, the more he starts to get more returns, teams are going to have to make a decision, and that's one of the things I wish had I been in this offense or with this offense, it would have been hard for teams. Because what they started doing when I played was, hey, we're willing to make him fair catch the ball and give up the yardage and bring the offense out and hold them defensively. But now with this team and this time with Drew Brees and this offense, hey, you give up that yardage, you're giving up a touchdown most likely. So it's going to make them have to start saying, hey, look, we're going to have to punt in the ball. And so you're going to be damned if you do and damned if you don't.
What do you see as made this defense?
To be honest, Ken, I don't know. It seems like the last year and this year, for whatever reason, they didn't look good in the preseasons, but some kind of way they ended up turning it up. When you go across the board, first of all, the defensive front. I think last year, I've always said Rankins he had a blowout season before he blew out his Achilles. But Rankin was probably the most underrated person on that defense because you didn't see. The linebackers got a lot of credit for making tackles, but you didn't see the reason why they were making those tackles was because of him taking on double teams, forcing gap, taking his gap responsibilities, and also getting in the backfield and making sacks. And then now he started to command in the double team, which left Cameron Jordan open one-on-one to be able to get the sacks that he did. So I think having those guys back, Anya Mata, who's doing a great job this year, up front, stop and run. If I'm not mistaken, they said, and I don't know what Leonard did, if he got there or not, but they said they haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 28 games. So I mean that's huge. And right now, from what you see, without having Drew Brees in there. And I said early on when Drew went down that this defense was going to have to carry the team, and they have taken on that challenge to where right now they're looking like the 2000 Baltimore Ravens defense, and that's saying a lot. Not giving up points, not making mistakes. They'll give up a couple of big runs here, big plays here and there, but overall they're doing a great job. And I think one of the biggest keys is looking at the secondary in passing situations. I think Lattimore has come on to be basically what he was his rookie year as far as locking receivers down. And I think he's learned, which is what I said, I think he's learned to change his game up or have an understanding. I can't play press man on every receiver and on every play. So being able to change up his game and have an understanding for the situations within the game of how to play those. If it's third and long, I don't need to be pressing the receiver. Hey, I can sit at the sticks, read the quarterback, get picks. or I can still be able to cover a receiver off in certain situations. So I think he has stepped his game up a lot more as well. Eli Apple has done a good job. Vaughn Bell is still going to be there, and Williams in the backfield, in the back as a safety. They've done a great job on that defensive side of the ball, playing together and collectively to where now, again, going back to, they're looking like that Baltimore Ravens defense of 2000.
We were talking about the receiving corps earlier. It's not necessarily that Ted Gibbons is doing his job. I know they have an injury with Smith, but do you think New Orleans trades for a receiver if available?
That's been a key or issue since last year. I mean, the two things I said the Saints need at receiver. One is a fast receiver we're really two fast receivers that's going to really stretch the field, but can also catch the ball. But then also another big receiver to take some of that pressure off of Michael Thomas. And I have yet to understand how teams have not understood. I'm going to double team Michael Thomas, and I'm going to play man-to-man across the board with everybody else. And then that way you would shut the Saints offense down as far as their passing game. But it has not been done because, again, you still have to have the players to do that. I think one of the issues, or one of the best things that not having Drew in, is that we have a guy who has the arm to throw the deep ball. Whether we complete it or not, I'd like to see the ball thrown at least 3 or 4 to 5 times a game on a deep pass, whether you complete it or not, just to keep the defense honest. And now that opens up all of those underneath passes, because before, when Drew's in there, I'm telling if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm telling my secondary, hey, sit at 10 yards and don't even backpedal, because everything's going to be run underneath, and slants, hitches, what have you, crossing routes are all going to be run underneath. So nobody's there to really outrun you. You talk about Ted Ginn having the speed last year, and I've always called him a 50-50 receiver, because you don't know if he's going to catch the ball or not. This year, I think he's done a better job of catching the ball and stepping up and taking on that role, but he's still a question mark. And to answer your question, like I said, I don't know about trading, but coming in the offseason, that was supposed to be a priority, finding some fast receivers or a bigger receiver. When you look over the years, the guys in that Saints offense who's gotten the ball, it's always been those 3 inside receivers, basically either the tight end or the 2 slot receivers in the back coming out of the backfield. So when you had your Super Bowl run, it was Colston, Lance Moore, Reggie Bush. Then Graham came in. It was Graham, Colston, and Sproles. So even when you had Henderson and Meacham on the outside, it's very seldom they really got the ball. But those 3 inside guys, we had Spiller. He didn't really work out, but that's what the Saints look for, is those two to 3 inside guys as far as running their routes and who the guys are going to get the ball. That's why you need big receivers either in that slot or at that tight end position. Cook has done a great job of stepping up and helping out. He needs to get the ball more, and Sean has worked him not just as a tight end, but putting him out just like he did with Jimmy Graham. That's helped Teddy as well. I think with Teddy Bridgewater, though, he has shown to be one of the things I should say about Teddy Bridgewater, he does not have the experience. You know, everybody wants him to be like Drew. Nobody in the league is like Drew. You know, nobody coming in is going to be like Drew as it pertains to accuracy and understanding the defense. Because Drew is, 40 years old now? So he's had time to understand the NFL. Just like Peyton Manning, just like Aaron Rodgers, just like Tom Brady. Those guys, just like Ben Roethlisberger. Those guys that have been around long enough have seen just about every defense there is to see. So the minute Drew hits his steps, whether it's a 3-step drop, 5-step drop, 7-step drop, the ball is coming out of his hand because he already knows where he's going with it. I think Teddy Bridgewater's problem is he's trying to be like Drew. He's trying to sit in that pocket, go through his reads, and sometimes that's what causes him to get sacks. He's not there yet. His reads ought to be 1, 2, use my legs and run. Just get out of there and go. You know, and I think trying to have, and another big issue is having an understanding for Sean Payton's offense. He has dumbed down his offense because of Teddy Bridgewater. Not to knock Teddy, but again, because his offense is so complicated, just the play call itself. And I think that's where Sean and Drew was on that same page, where Sean may call a play, Drew already knows what it is. With Teddy, he has to listen to that same play. I mean, if you look at last year, the reason why Taysom Hill was in, whenever they would run a play with Taysom Hill at quarterback, Drew had to make the call. That's why Drew was still in the game and would just line up wide. But when you look in the huddle, Drew makes the call, and then Taysom Hill would go up and line up at quarterback because it's too complicated of an offense for him to make those calls. So now you have to have an understanding. Hey, let's break this, which I think Sean them as a coaching staff has done an excellent job of out coaching these other teams because nobody really expected us to be where we're at. Let's be honest, not at all. The defense, hey, y'all did a great job and has been doing a great job, but offensively, we still haven't, no way possible we should be winning games with 13, 10 points or whatever in the NFL. So obviously everything has fallen on the defense. They've stepped up their game, but within this offense, I think with Teddy, at least he's not losing the game. And that's one of the things I think we want to see from a backup quarterback. And keeping in mind, he is a backup quarterback with potential to be your future quarterback. It's not going to be Drew Brees. I'm not going to say never, but in our time, I don't think we're going to see anybody else with these quarterbacks coming out now. I don't think they're going to last as long as these quarterbacks you have. Again, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. These guys are not going to last that long anymore. And so that experience or that knowledge of the game plays a major part, or I should say a lack of, for Teddy Bridgewater, because he hasn't seen all of that yet.